Fox Nation host Larry Logan, along with Florida Congressman Michael Waltz, Green Beret veteran. He served in Afghanistan. Congressman, I'll start with you. I want to first ask you about this. My sources are telling me that, in fact, the Biden administration knows there's thousands of Americans, not 1,500, as Tony Blinken said today. My sources are telling me they know they're going to leave them behind. My sources have told me that they were warned by our intelligence community, our Defense Department, in no uncertain terms early, May, June, July, what was happening, and they did nothing. What are you hearing?
Yeah, we've received a series of briefings the last several days, Sean, and it is very clear that this White House is not being honest with the American people. We're hearing very different things behind closed doors from these briefers. The Defense Department, in no uncertain terms, told Biden and his White House to leave a residual force behind and to not do this. The intelligence community was clear that al-Qaeda 3.0 will come roaring back with the Taliban, that they are married at the hip and they fully intend to attack the United States again. And then finally, we have Americans right now, not just behind enemy lines in Kabul, but outside of Kabul. And there is a capability to go get them, but the White House isn't authorizing it. That is unacceptable and un-American.
Congressman, am I hearing you correctly? Is that the information that they're sharing with you is being directly contradicted publicly by the White House, that they are lying to us? They're not being totally honest. Is that fair?
Either they are lying, heartless, clueless, or all of the above, Sean. But
Wow.
It is a very different picture from what we're hearing from Psaki and Kirby and from the President of the United States. And then all of us congressional offices that are dealing with people directly on the ground know that people aren't being allowed through these Taliban checkpoints, know that they're being stopped at the gates, know that we just had an incident today where the Taliban took their cell phones and smashed them and turned them back around. They're paying this, everything is fine, hunky-dory picture, but we know the reality is different on the ground, and we're being briefed very differently behind closed doors.
Well, that means they know the truth. Lara Logan, you've been in a lot of war zones. You've been on the ground for long periods of time. You have a unique experience. Let's talk about that as it relates to the future for women in Afghanistan. And you were very smart in a tweet I picked up that you put out today in pointing out that this line of Tony Blinken that we will diplomatically and economically work after we leave, after our military leaves with the Taliban, that sounds like ransom. You point out negotiating with terrorists is against the law.
Yeah. I mean, what happened to that? Why is nobody talking about that? Why is nobody talking about the fact that we have U.S. allies in Afghanistan who are still there, who are fighting the Taliban, and yet we are hell-bent on recognizing the Taliban, the terrorists responsible for 9/11, as the legitimate rulers of Afghanistan? And I tell you what, Sean, I have barely slept for a week because of all the Afghans who have been reaching out, pleading for help, begging America not to leave them to die because they know that they're going to be slaughtered. When it's wheels up for America and we pack up, it's going to be an absolute bloodbath. And all the signs are that they are systematically hunting down and mapping out who their targets are. So that female journalist that you had, all of the women that have been in the security forces or doctors, terrible crime to be a doctor and help your people under the Taliban and al-Qaeda's regime, right? So what they're doing is systematically mapping them out. And it's worse than just abandoning them. The U.S. is giving false hope and letting Afghans come to the airport. SIVs have not been allowed in today. These are Afghans people who have been approved. They've had background checks, and they have passed those security checks. Their visa applications have been approved, and they've been denied access to the airport. Sean, do you know what we did today? You know what we actually did today? An American woman, we actually told her she couldn't bring her Afghan husband with her. We told two green card holders, two Afghan green card holders who live in Houston, Texas, that they couldn't bring their American children home. because they weren't allowed to get on the plane. They don't have a blue American passport. This is how dishonest the Biden administration is being about these numbers. It is absolute chaos at the airport. As I've been sitting here, I've been getting photographs of women who've been beaten and brutalized by the Taliban, children at these checkpoints who have come through checkpoints. They've been shot at, they've been beaten, they've been hunted by the Taliban, and their crime is believing in the idea of freedom and believing that the country that most represents that idea for the whole world, it is the light of the whole world, would actually stand up for the people that stood up for that ideal that we're supposed to believe in, that this country is founded on. And we're about to abandon every single one of them, and we knew it. We planned this, and we did it by design, and we're taking no action to reverse course, and that's where the proof is.
Wow. Very powerful. Lara Logan, thank you. Congressman, thank you for your honesty, too. Don't forget, by the way, you can watch part 1 of the new season. Lara Logan Has No Agenda, Sacrificing Afghanistan. It's available right now on FoxNation.com. First, the Biden